You're listening to Alcoholics Alive, where recovered members of Alcoholics Anonymous share their experience on how they live AA as a way of life. None of our participants get paid or speak for AA. Here are your hosts, Shank and Wayne. Shank, what's our Upon Awakening reading for the pod?
All right, Season 10, Episode 2, Upon Awakening. This comes from the book Alcoholics Anonymous at page 39, the 4th edition, 2001. And it says, but the actual or potential alcoholic, with hardly an exception, will be absolutely unable to stop drinking on the basis of self-knowledge.
I was in the hospital, second suicide attempt, and I think I was in there for about 5 days, and it was either a social worker or the doctor actually came in, and it was a suicide attempt, so they had to like talk to you and do all this stuff, even though we were trying to say it wasn't a suicide attempt.
Well, naturally.
And but I vaguely remember them talking to me about drinking, and this one doctor that cared for me after I got out, he did mention to me about my drinking. But anyway, when I got out of the hospital, I knew for sure I would never go back to living crazy and drinking again, based on the knowledge I had received from the suicide attempt and from these professionals. And I was out of the hospital for 3 days and I drank. Because self-knowledge does not work. And thinking about your last drink or thinking about, what happens and stuff like that, it will not keep you sober.
Not for the actual or potential alcoholic.
Yep. It works for a
hard drinkers.
Or moderate drinker.
Moderate drinker.
Yep. Or light drinker.
Light drinker.
Yep. Yeah. I know people that aren't alcoholic that got pulled over after a Christmas party and got DWI. They're no more alcoholic than Billy Graham. And they quit drinking. One episode, right, hit them and they quit drinking. Or so I think this is a good reading. We stay sober through a spiritual experience.
That's right.
And through helping other people. We stop drinking because of a spiritual awakening that happens as a result of taking the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. If knowledge worked for an alcoholic, a lot of alcoholics would be sober today.
They sure would.
Yep. So, Shank, what's our topic today? Got a few things we're doing, huh?
Well, today, if you do not listen to episode 1, Jerry gave us a kind of brief overview. We're talking about some of the agenda items for the 75th General Service Conference. And today, we're going to be talking about CPC, corrections, and finance.
Ooh. There's some good ones in here.
There are some good ones. So there are a few that have been highlighted here. We're not talking about every item, just kind of ones that we're interested in or have questions about. So first of all, if you have no idea what the 75th General Service Conference is, you can email us or ask your delegate. If you don't know who your delegate is, we'll find them for you.
Yep.
If you would like all of this background information, we'll email it to you. Anything that we're referencing, we're happy to email, to send to you. It's not secret, to my knowledge. It's not secret to me.
It's not.
Not confidential.
Nope.
We also have the 2024 final report pulled up. So we will be also referencing that for some of this.
If you've never looked at the 2024 final report, you should. There's a trove of information in there.
There is a trove. So our first item that we're going to be discussing is cooperation with the professional community, which is CPC. And this is item A, review progress report on AAWS LinkedIn page. So if you did not
Wow.
know, we have a LinkedIn page.
How about that?
If you don't like that we have a LinkedIn page, too bad, because we have one.
Yeah. So yeah. So we've been on AA's been on LinkedIn, I think since 2018. So they want to review the progress report.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the LinkedIn page just a little while ago, and they've got 4,500. They got just over 4,500 followers, and there's not much info in there. There's a summary about what AA is and what it is not. It's okay, and then I mean they did report that post that quarterly report for professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess the committee should review the report, but it just seems that a lot of to me, we've already approved the page. So whoever the host is or the administrator of the page, I mean, let them use all the current information that's available to them to post stuff. I just, I
So
mean, I guess,
for Q3 to Q4, okay, September 2020, from October 2023 to September 2024, there were 36 posts. There was an increase in LinkedIn mail to the company page, mostly about job postings. Okay, they're directing them to the appropriate staff desk or to department.
okay,
They have some hashtag research project with the language services department. That's on hold. They're trying to figure out some research for French and Spanish hashtags.
okay. Well,
There's
again, it
four
just,
there's 4,020 followers. The
yeah,
AAWS board approved an effort to provide more engaging content on the social platforms. So they embedded the video Sobriety in AA, My Drinking Built a Wall, in the August 22 post. Instead of linking it to AA.org or YouTube, it was our highest engagement of the year.
okay. What was the engagement?
Well, it doesn't say that,
Doesn't say. Yeah, okay.
but it was the
All
highest
right.
one. So the channel
Yeah.
stats for the year, total page views, 10,000. Unique visitors, 4,288. That's a
Go.
25% increase from last year.
Okay.
There were
Yeah.
2,144 reactions and 54 reposts.
All right. Well, I mean, if we need to have a LinkedIn page to be more relevant in the professional community, I think that's probably fine. But they talk about equitable time distribution with the conference and with all the committees that they don't have time to actually kind of do the business of AA. This would be one of those things that I would think they would not spend a whole lot of time on. Yeah. Let the staff deal with it.
And give us an update. Here's what
Give
we
us
did.
that's right,
Here's
report
what's
back.
worked.
Yeah.
You know, if they were doing like really egregious things on LinkedIn, then I think the fellowship at
Yeah.
large, when they give us an update, would be like, no.
Yeah. Or get rid of it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine many people are going to LinkedIn to find out about AA.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
So there you go. There's the update on the AAWS LinkedIn page. As someone who's been sober for 12 years and the internet has been a part of my life since, I don't know, high school, fine.
Yeah. Do
Do
you ever
whatever you need to do, staff
do you go to
member.
LinkedIn? Do you go to LinkedIn for your
No.
content? Yeah.
I don't even
Right.
have LinkedIn.
Right.
I'm
Keep it
not the
that way.
person to ask, okay?
What's next?
Okay, so next we have a few items that I'm going to group together.
Okay.
So two of these are from CPC. and one is going to be from corrections.
Okay.
So the two from CPC, this is item B from CPC. Review progress report on the development of outward-facing pamphlet for mental health professionals. And then we have item E from CPC. Discuss shared experience in informing professionals how AA can serve unhoused and neurodivergent alcoholics.
Oh my goodness.
And then we have
Because they're different.
item B from the Corrections Committee, which says review progress report on the development of a pamphlet for the transgender alcoholic in AA.
So more separation, more exclusivity. So the one on the outward facing for mental health professionals, when you read some of the questions like how can the pamphlet help establish trust between professionals in AA? Well, it can't. Face-to-face contact does.
Yeah.
Local recovered AA members going and talking to professionals is what establishes trust. You can't do it with a pamphlet. I'm sorry.
Well,
What's the importance of clarifying AA's non-affiliation with treatment centers? Well, it's very important, but why don't we do that with a pamphlet that focuses on that tradition? Or let the local AA members talk about that to the professionals. So, I mean, again, it's one of those things where out of virtue, they create stuff that they think people out in the, I'll say the field, right? Out in the field need them. We don't need any of that stuff. We got what we need. We got a book. We got our own experience. And there is some current, literature that's already good, but it doesn't need to be updated. When they say update, I think what they want to do is they want to start using more mental health terms in the pamphlets.
yeah.
And they want to move away from AA being a spiritual program. They want it to be focused more on psychiatry and substance use disorder.
Well, something interesting to me too is like the pamphlet aims to clarify AA's role and assure professionals that AA can work alongside, not instead of, clinical care. And that's not exactly true.
No.
It can be true. And I would think, I'm someone who's been to therapy before, and I went for a period of time and then I stopped going. Right? So like if AA didn't work instead of clinical care for me, I don't know, like it gets confusing to me. Like this is saying if I've ever done anything outside of AA, then I can't stop doing that other thing because AA doesn't work without it. To me, that sounds like affiliation.
It does, doesn't it? Well, I don't know. An outward-facing pamphlet.
Well, and for the three of these, you made a good point when we were talking before of like maybe we just need a Tradition 3 pamphlet.
Yeah. Yeah, so as it relates to the neurodivergent, the unhoused, so is that autistic and homeless mostly?
Yes, and like here's the thing.
We can't say those words anymore.
The 2024 Conference Committee on CPC considered the request to develop a pamphlet for the unhoused alcoholic in AA and took no action. So the committee felt that a pamphlet would not be an effective tool to carry the message to the unhoused community. The committee suggested that the trustees' cooperation with the professional community/treatment accessibilities committee consider exploring methods of how to better serve the unhoused population.
So they just
But
keep bringing
here,
it back up.
but here we are again
Yeah.
because someone else thought, no, I don't agree with that. I think we should definitely have a pamphlet.
So they don't trust the committee process.
And neurodivergent, the best I can understand from a quick Google, yes, I know people who say that they are neurodivergent, but it is such a wide-ranging mental health diagnosis that, yes, it can mean autistic on the spectrum, ADHD, ADD,
Sure.
OCD. I don't,
Yeah. Here's the thing about it, though. To me, I mean, it's the same. It's the same message that we keep saying. It says, "How can AA serve unhoused neurodivergent alcoholics?" We serve them the same way we serve all other alcoholics. We offer experience, strength, and hope. We share our experience. We try to get them to identify. And side note, I've been involved in helping homeless. You can call them unhoused or houseless or whatever you want to call them. They're homeless people. I've been intimately involved in helping homeless people for over 20 years. And in another role, I'm actually, I guess, considered a professional because I'm the chair of the board of trustees for a large homeless shelter. We don't need a pamphlet. We don't need conversation. We help them by offering them the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, just like we would anybody else. So save your time and your money. We don't need a pamphlet. We don't need another video. We need local AA members that are willing to go talk to people.
yeah.
That's what we need. And I do think that, and maybe we should write a PAI next year, a pamphlet that's specifically about the third tradition
Yeah.
and that talks about the rich history of the third tradition. How AA was basically a pioneer in bringing all kinds of different types of people together because we include all who suffer from alcoholism. So we should talk about that instead of separating people and having, I mean, I had the experience, you were there, I had the experience at the home group one night when an older guy came up needing help, and you go to the literature table and there's a pamphlet there for an old dude. It's embarrassing to give that to somebody.
Yeah. I mean, why would you?
Right. It's like you're actually saying, oh yeah, you are different. Instead of just saying, hey, we're here to help you, bud. Let's go. Let's go get some food and we can talk about the book and some steps. I mean,
Well, right. And like, hey, an accessibilities issue, yes, make those in large print. Sure. Okay. But that's not just going to be for the old guy.
yeah, right. It could be for everybody.
It could be for anyone that can't read tiny little print.
Like me.
So it's like
Yep.
we could
So,
avoid printing more and more pamphlets that don't sell very many. Like I get
yep.
people are just so obsessed with like if it helps one person get and stay sober. And in my personal experience, anyone that has tried to other themselves, if you will, they typically don't get and stay sober because they're
That's right.
so focused on their other issues or why they don't fit in or how
Yep.
everyone is different.
Yep. Yep. Well, so, well, let me ask, I'm going to ask that question in a minute. So the other one on the transgender.
Yes,
Now, you notice how they put that under corrections?
correct.
Yeah. Now, they did that before because of the equitable distribution workload.
Right.
But I think there's a little bit of a strategy here because a lot of times when you put stuff under corrections, that's when you start hearing, oh, it's going to help one person.
Yeah.
If it helps that one person in prison identify, it's worth it. So we've spent a couple years, probably $10,000 to $30,000 on creating a pamphlet that's probably not going to get used. And again, separating or pulling out the transgender. Isn't there already a pamphlet for all the
LGBTQIA+.
initials? Yep.
Yep. And it
So
was
now
updated
these,
recently, I believe.
yeah. So I guess that's different. I understand that.
Yeah,
So,
but here's the thing. Didn't we get a notice from our delegate asking for transgender alcoholics because they didn't have anyone to write stories for this pamphlet?
yes. Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, that
The,
just
f-
says to me that like if there are not so many transgender alcoholics that are willing to write in, here's my story, here's how I'm got sober. Like it sounds like to me maybe there is not a need. You would think if there was such a need for this, you wouldn't even be able to, we'd have to
yeah.
have a separate conference to
Yeah.
read all of them and decide
Yeah.
who should be in the pamphlet.
Right. Yep. The other thing that people need to remember is that this is why they changed the stories in the back of the book.
Right.
Is so they can have a story back there that anyone can identify with. So, they're coming out with the fifth edition. Why not have a story in the back for neurodivergent and unhoused?
Yep.
Matter of fact, there's already some in there for that.
Yep.
If you read them,
Mm-hmm.
there's several that unhoused could identify with for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have one for a transgender. I mean, there's already similar ones in there, but that was the purpose of the story section of the book, was that it would change over time to reflect the membership. Here's the funny thing. Read some of the background here. They had a call for a non-alcoholic Class A trustee with transgender experience
They
to
still
help
have that
support
call.
this. Yes. Here's a question. Why is it important for AA to have literature specifically for transgender alcoholics? It's not. So, listen, I have helped some transgenders. We've had a transgender in our group, and they're not there anymore, but when you talk to them, and I know you sponsor a neurodivergent,
Yes.
but when you talk to them, they don't want to be different.
No.
They don't want to be treated separately or differently. They just want to be. Now, I'm not saying that people aren't afraid and feel out of place when they come in AA. All of us felt that way when we first got here.
Yeah. That's part of the common bond, right? We were like, oh my
Right.
gosh, how did I end up here?
Right. But to further separate and kind of, show people's differences, I think it's just dumb. I mean, and
Well, and I love that AA has taught me, most recently, now I'm starting to feel like as a formerly justice involved inmate, whatever, I'm starting to feel like we focus way too much on corrections in a certain way. Like it is very
I,
othering, like you're othered. Anyway, but I'm
it's
glad that no
true.
one treated me like that when I got here because I felt so different. It's like, listen for your story. And I didn't hear anyone, a young woman saying she'd been incarcerated and blah, blah, blah. Are there those women out there? Yes. But like, I
Yeah.
wasn't hearing it and I was so focused on it. And thank God women told me, hey, don't pay attention to that. How did you
Yep.
drink? What did you do? What did you not do? Great. We're all the same. We're going
Yep.
to get coffee.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Don't.
And so, these other people, transgender alcoholics, neurodivergent, like quite frankly, Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me how to be open-minded. And a lot of these people are my friends today.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that I wouldn't have been friends with them, but I mean, I was too fearful not to be friends with anyone I wasn't kind of familiar with.
Yep. Yeah. And you can tell when somebody comes into the group that maybe fits one of those designations, when you don't draw attention to it and just treat them like you would anyone else, they appreciate that.
Alcoholics Anonymous taught me that, and I feel like we're unraveling all of it. And now I'm supposed to
Yep.
judge someone when they walk on the door in the door and say, "Okay, I'm going to give you a Black and AA pamphlet. I'm going to give you a LGBT. I'm going to give you the." It just is like
That's it. That's what they want.
I can't stand it. I don't want anyone looking at me and saying what people do say. You don't look like you were in prison. Okay.
Yeah. Even that's
Yeah.
dumb. Yeah. I-
Anyway,
Well, if you'd like to see AA maybe stop spending so much time worrying about specialized pamphlets and actually maybe focusing on educating people on our current traditions, tell your DCM or your delegate
Tradition
before the
3
conference.
pamphlet.
Yep. Tradition 3 pamphlet.
And just, hey, like it says repeatedly in a lot of our literature, it doesn't matter your race, creed, religion. It doesn't matter. So you know what? Add to the list. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation, if you're transgender, if you're neurodivergent, if you're mentally ill, if you're mentally healthy, if you're this, fine. I mean, I quite frankly think that's unnecessary too. But if you want something, fine.
Yeah. Listen to this question. How can the fellowship ensure the pamphlet accurately reflects transgender experiences without compromising AA principles?
Why are transgender experiences compromising to AA principles?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. No, it does
And
not.
it's just like so tacky. It's so ugly. I don't understand.
How can this pamphlet support inclusivity and unity within AA? It can't. It flies right in the face of it.
Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. I mean, forward facing. I feel like that is outward facing pamphlet for mental health professionals. I feel like that's very uh 9 to 5 language.
Yeah.
We need an outward facing pamphlet, okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You know the problem with some of that stuff, like for professionals, is a lot of them don't think AA works
Yeah.
because treatment centers and courts, they just automatically, it's actually not as bad right now as it used to be, but they automatically just send people to AA, no matter what happened to you. And so these professionals see these folks, they just go to an AA meeting or two, and then they relapse, right? They never actually did AA. They never actually joined AA. They never actually took the steps. They just attended a meeting. And so what we need to do is we need to explain to professionals that actually AA works 100% for somebody that actually tries it.
Well,
And we
here's
need to
the thing.
explain to them that we are a spiritual movement.
Well, here's the thing too. We need to be showing up to those courts and parole offices and all these other places and meet the professionals.
That's right.
Like I'm Susie, I'm a recovered alcoholic. Here's how I was drinking. Here's someone that may benefit from AA. Don't just send all the drug addicts or anyone that's been in trouble here. Just like explaining to them what we are and what we're not.
That's right.
It seems to me like we've really gotten away from that, and instead we throw some pamphlets at them and say, "You figure it out," and then wonder
Yeah, you
why
can't do
people
it in
have
a
a
pamphlet.
bad idea about AA. Or you have the
That's
person
right.
that's showing up there who's been sober for 3 months or 30 years, never worked a step, saying, "Hey, plugging a jug,
That's right. Yeah.
cotton in years."
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do it with just a pamphlet. Or, a lot of times our committees, they want to just drop off pamphlets or they want to drop off literature or they lay a grapevine. And that stuff's fine, but that doesn't really educate or get at what AA really needs.
Well,
We
and
got
it's
to get in
not.
front of people.
It's not breaking your anonymity to tell someone you're a recovered member of
No,
Alcoholics Anonymous.
no,
So,
no. But people think it is. What's next?
all right. So now we are in Corrections Committee, and we talked about the transgender pamphlet. So now we're to item E. Consider request to update Appendix IV in the book Alcoholics Anonymous.
Well, that's the one that shows the awards and recognitions.
Okay, yes. So the only award and recognitions that are in there is the Lasker Award.
Yeah. Yeah. So I personally think that this is not going to probably help another alcoholic much. But
But
I
you
think
do think it needs to be updated.
well, here's the thing. So
Lay it on them.
about 10 or 12 years ago, I actually sent a similar request up to I have to go back and find the emails. I can't remember if it was the literature trustee chair or the person that sits on a literature desk. It may have been who's person that sits on a literature desk. So me and another A member both sent requests to update this section in the back of the big book because AA has won lots of other awards and has had some really kind of prestigious recognition. And we thought it would be helpful to have that in the back of the book just for relevance. And so we sent that request up. I never got a response. And the other person got a response back from the desk saying that they couldn't change it because of its historical value. Didn't make any sense to us. No, well, they've since, anything with any historical value, they've since have changed it to include the big book. But we also had sent the request up to, if you look in the back of the big book, there's a section called how to get in touch with AA.
Mm-hmm.
We'd requested that got updated because it talks about doing interviews and making hospital appointments or something like that. And there were other things that were outdated. But anyway, we got shot down saying that they couldn't change it.
Well, it's because you didn't submit a PAI.
That might be true. That might be true, but you technically don't have to submit a PAI for it to get on somebody's radar.
Well, apparently, maybe you do.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that if we want A to be relevant and up to date, again, that's the purpose of the stories in the big book, and that's the purpose for appendixes in the back of a book, or appendices. So that's where we should be making our changes. That's where we should be making our updates, not all this one-off new stuff. But anyway, that's it. Do it or don't.
Do it or don't.
But it does help the book get updated.
Would we not just add more appendices if that's
You could,
like
right, easily.
sure, if you don't want, they are also discussing in another item updating what the Lasker Award in the big book actually says. Because in AA Comes of Age, it's a little more detailed. Some people want to put that detailed descriptor into the big book. Okay, fine. But could you not, if people don't want to mess with how the book is for historical and what, okay, fine, but like, could you not just add some other appendices?
You could do another appendices.
I mean, as of 2025, here are all the awards.
Yeah.
I don't know. People love to be on a 5-year plan at GSO, so be on a 5-year plan to look at it and update it.
Yeah. Or hey, you know what? We could do another pamphlet that showed all the awards and recognitions. Now there is an argument. You probably would lean. I don't know. There is another argument to, hey, we don't promote ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So let's not have any of them.
Yep.
Which I could get on with that. But if you're gonna have them in the back of the book, why not have all of them instead of just one?
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to go on to finance.
Oh Lord.
So just get ready.
What do you got for us?
Okay. Item A for the Finance Committee. Consider a request to reaffirm the 1975 advisory action about inflation and group contributions. So this item encourages the 1975 action, that we reaffirm it, so that we advise our delegates to remind the fellowship how inflation affects the value of contributions over time. So,
It's so dumb for so many reasons. Number one, we say there's no membership fees or dues. And we basically imply that Alcoholics Anonymous is free for someone that wants to recover from alcoholism.
Right.
But now we want to tell people that they got to give more. It's
Well,
basically what this does. So I think it's dumb from that standpoint that, so now we're going to have GSO and our delegates say, hey, little kiddies, inflation has gone up tremendously and the tariffs are really hurting our business. So please give more. A dollar doesn't go as far as it did. It's just, what happened to the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking.
okay, well,
And,
here's what it said.
okay.
In 1975, it was recommended that delegates and reports to their areas place more emphasis on broadening the base of group support because the committee felt that the dependence on literature income could become detrimental to the fellowship structure.
I got it. Okay.
Now, keep in mind this was in 1975, so the 60, 30, 10 suggested group contribution formula be used were applicable and practical, as well as a $3.65 per year per member plan. And that the 60, 30, 10 plan should be encouraged by GSO and all delegates. 60% to central office, 30 to GSO, 10 to area committee. The recommended $10 maximum on birthday contributions be eliminated from the birthday envelope. Delegates emphasized to the groups the effect that inflation has had on the contribution dollar and the necessity for adjusting contributions accordingly. A set of quarterly contribution statements be mailed to all delegates for their areas on a twice-yearly basis rather than once a year, as it is now the practice. These statements are to cover the 6-month period ending June 30th and the 12-month period ending December 31st. Contributions continue to be listed in the AA directories, and the contributions from the previous calendar year be used. Upon reviewing the GSO salary structure, it was considered to be sound. This information is available to delegates upon request.
Okay. Well, the other thing I would say about that, that I understand their fear back then, right? That it's always been an issue in AA that we've never technically have been self-supporting through the contributions of individuals and groups. We have always relied on literature sales to sustain the organization. I think we did on one of our previous podcasts, we looked at that, and I think we confirmed that at least that year, 60% of our contributions were from, or 60% of our profit was from group contributions, and like 40% was from literature sales. And I think that changes, kind of goes back and forth depending on the year. So we've never been fully self-supporting, probably never will be.
But can I
Back in
ask you,
75,
a question?
uh-huh.
Okay. Could the delegates not just say that?
Yes, very good point. Yeah, so
I mean, do we really need to have an item for the 75th General Service Conference to reaffirm a 1907 advisory action that the delegates tell people about inflation? I mean, can't the delegate just say, hey guys, you know what? Rising cost? Think about your dollar.
yes, Shank. This one flies right in the face of kind of like, or this supports kind of why we are doing the pod the way we are this season. Because we wanted to kind of focus on, hey, is any of this stuff actually helping to carry the message to another alcoholic? So this is another one of those items that, why would they debate this in a conference, right? Why not just say, hey, delegates, can you tell people that inflation's up and just, ask them to give more if they can? Why do you need a conference to tell you that? I guess that they think this is more binding or it's more official.
Yeah, but here's the other
But
thing.
yeah,
Maybe AA members are voting with their wallet
oh, that's a good point.
because a lot of these finance issues that we're talking about or the finance items, it seems to me like people are voting with their wallets. Or hey, maybe people don't have as much money as they did last year. Maybe they have more. Maybe they don't want to give as much. Maybe they don't agree with a lot of the things that are going on.
Yeah, it's a good point. it's kind of cheesy to get the
But so
delegate
like,
up. So,
so like what? You want to squeeze as much as you can out of the people that agree with your cause so
yep,
that it doesn't look like people are voting with their wallet? That's what it seems like to me, personally.
I think you might be onto something there.
Because the next
So,
item is item B, review suggested area contribution for delegate expense for the conference.
okay.
So we need to tell people, give us more money, think about your dollar. Well, we need the delegate to tell us that, maybe, if they decide they approve this at conference.
Well, that one would tie right into this one, wouldn't it? If they approve the past advisory action, then the next thing is, hey, we need more money to support sending the delegate to the conference. Oh my goodness. So on this item, there's an expense incurred when the delegate goes to the conference.
Yep.
And GSO pays for that, but then they ask for a minimum contribution from the area. So right now, when the delegate goes to the conference, GSO asks, or they suggest that every area send them, I think it's $2,200 to help offset the cost.
Okay, but here's my question.
Excuse me.
Why? Why do the areas need to offset it at all?
It's a good question.
Because the money at GSO is money that the areas and districts and birthday contributions and individual
Literature purchases.
contributions and literature purchases. So like we're already bankrolling it. And like I guess I just don't understand why the area needs to pay more. I mean, our area can afford it because we typically have a surplus, but I don't necessarily think it's about, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't really
Yeah.
make that much sense to me.
No. Well, look, it doesn't. Well, look at some of the questions they asked. Does the current suggested area contribution adequately cover rising costs? There's your inflation thing.
I know.
Yep. How do varying area sizes and finances affect their ability to contribute? What methods can increase understanding and transparency around this funding request? Don't make the request. Yep. Take some of that money that you're giving to the grapevine and pay for the delegate to go to the conference if it's that important. You'd think that'd be more important than supporting a magazine that's supposed to be solely supported by its own subscriptions.
Which it is not, which their website still says that it is, which
Yep.
I might get off of that one day, but today's not the day.
Probably not.
So I just think that's interesting. We want to, all right, we're going to get the delegates to tell everyone, give more money, which, whatever. But then we're also, while we're giving more money to GSO,
Yep.
then our area is also going to give more money to GSO.
Yep. That's what it's asking for. Another
And
thing, another way to go ahead.
well, I understand it's very expensive to do that. And like it looks like it's about $10,000. I would assume it was more than that.
It could be a little
Send
more.
to send someone to the conference. Just
Yep.
based on what I see, which is not a lot of the business of AA, I see a lot of the here's where we ate, here's where we went, this is what we looked at, which is all interesting, but
Yep. The other thing you could say is that maybe the area should be self-supporting and they should pay for all of it. And if an area can't support it, then don't send your delegate.
well, then you wouldn't be self-supporting, right?
Yeah. Oh man. I think I'm in the camp now. I think you swayed me on this one. I think that GSO should pay for all of it.
When it's like I
They're,
understand the self-support too, but it seems like
well, they're putting a conference on, and
right.
we already send a lot of money. Yeah, pay for it.
When they're asking us for more money anyway,
Right.
because of inflation.
Well, they're setting you up. That's right. So if the inflation thing gets approved, then the segue is, well, here's your first chance to honor the inflation increase. Give us more money for your delegate to go to the conference. This one
Okay.
really helps an alcoholic.
So here are our next two. You will be excited to learn. Item C and item D. Finance item C. Review the conference-approved level of $10,000 for individual bequests to the General Service Board. Item D. Review the conference-approved maximum annual contribution of $7,500 from an individual AA member.
Okay. So they're basically wanting to review, the current levels because somebody wants to increase them.
Correct.
Yeah, it comes up, all the time. The funny thing about it is, so the one is, so basically if you die, you can leave AA $10,000 in your will.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to contribute individually, like while you're alive, the max you can give is $7,500 per year.
Mm-hmm.
So how many AA members gave $7,500 or more? I mean, gave up the max amount last year? Do you know? I think that's in our final report, isn't it?
Well, they also have this information in the conference background.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Maximum contribution bequests 2024 was 9.
So 9. Okay.
2023 6, 2022 14, 2021 10, 2020 7.
So there's not
2019, the year we went to NetSuite, data not available.
they did not avail. So there's not enough activity to even justify spending time on it, is there? It's just so crazy. It's just so silly.
So for the individual maximum contributions, the individual, how many do you think there were in 2024? Because they wanted, listen, in 2024,
Uh-huh.
we already raised this in 2024. We went from
That's
$5,000 to $7,500
that's
last
right.
year.
That's right.
Okay. So in 2024, how many individual contributions of the maximum amount do you think there were?
I'm going to say there were probably 300.
There were 7.
7. Oh my God. So why are they going to waste time reviewing it? I mean,
Now, in 2023, there were 66, 2022, 60, 2021, 53. So, let's see, 2018, there were 7.
so as inflation came, people gave less.
2014, there were 21.
All right. Well, again, why waste time on this if they're claiming they don't have enough time to actually review agenda items?
And then, just in case you're wondering, I just scrolled. I shouldn't have done that. But there is an AA grapevine color, very nice in the 75th committee agenda. And it says, supported solely by your participation. We're self-supporting through the sale of magazine and related items.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway,
So, hey, listen to this one question. Should contributions over a certain amount require anonymity safeguards or extra review? What is that? What? It doesn't tell you in that report who gave that money, does it?
listen, I'm so sorry. If there is a non-alcoholic searching and researching on the internet to see if Jerry W. from Apex, North Carolina, what he's sending to the General Service Office or otherwise of Alcoholics Anonymous, if a non-alcoholic is doing that, I mean, good. Just let them know.
Right. I mean, who would do it? Oh my
For what
goodness.
reason?
Yep.
I mean, are non-alcoholics really sitting around doing that? Should we be anonymous among each other? I know
No,
that
we should
money is
not.
like a really, difficult thing for people to talk about, but like,
Yep. Well, this is all leading. I mean,
well, it's also
there
like, okay, how often should bequest limits be reviewed or adjusted? Well, I don't know. For the individual, it seems like every year. It seems
every
like
year,
if
right?
only 7 people sent the max last year and you were expecting more, then you just up it the next year to ensure that you're gonna get
Yep.
what you want.
Yep. It just seems like the number of people participating is so low that it shouldn't even be an issue to waste time on it. I will tell you this, there are people in New York and California in the past that have tried to get the bequest amount to be $100,000.
That's just wild
There
to
was an
me.
actual PAI I don't know if it was a PAI, it was a pretty substantial request that came from a whole area years ago. And it was funny, the amount was actually 100, the specific amount they wanted was $112,000. They wanted bequest to be that. So you could almost see where somebody had already left it like in a will maybe.
Yeah.
So I just wish we can move on and not have it come up every year. Now here's an interesting thing on the background or the full agenda. So
Yep.
there was an item on there that got scratched off.
Yep.
It was actually withdrawn.
Yep.
I'm going to read it. We
Go
don't need to
for it.
discuss it. It says review the initial draft of the supplemental financial reporting of the actual and evolving costs of various services provided by the GSB. So somebody wants to look at the actual rising cost of the services provided by the board,
Mm-hmm.
and it got withdrawn by the trustees committee. What if it has anything to do with the treasurer leaving?
Well, that's a great point.
Maybe.
So the last one that I just wanted to quickly bring up, and just get your feedback on, item G, consider a request to remove the phrase, quote, a group may also decline to hear reports from a GSR at all, end quote, from the AA service manual. This item suggests a leading language in the service manual that may undermine the value of the GSR role in group and conference communication.
We've got way more important things to worry about than that statement.
Well, also, you
And
can
a
decline
group,
to hear anything
that's
from your
right.
GSR.
And a group can decline to hear that stuff. This is one of those ones where you could see somebody trying to predict what Bill would say or trying to
Mm-hmm.
predict what Bill will do. Well, Bill wrote it. Leave it alone.
Well, and here's the thing too, even if they took that out, guess what? Even if they took it out, guess what? Your group can still decline to hear reports from a GSR.
100%.
So like,
Why would this make the agenda? Who's sitting around reading this stuff and saying, oh man, we got to change that?
well, the only people that read the service manual have, well, never mind.
Well, they treat that service manual like it's the Bible. Hey,
I know.
we attended a service manual study. Hey, we're going to a service manual study. Well, and 10 years later they're studying the service manual, but they're not helping anybody. So
I mean,
anyway,
is that what's stopping GSRs from giving a good report?
evidently, yeah, that little statement, leave it alone. So again, what is that going to do to help an alcoholic? What's that do for a fifth tradition? Our primary purpose, nothing. So, hey, if you're out there, I would suggest you look at some of this stuff and get with your delegate before the conference and let your voice be heard. Shank, you want to move on to we're doing living sober shrapnel.
Yes, so this is a segment of lore, myth, and sayings as written in the booklet Living Sober.
All right.
Okay, this is a booklet. I
That
did not know that.
that they want to rewrite, huh, or update?
Correct. So they want to update the Living Sober, and I thought that I would maybe be like, yeah, sure, update it. But as I've been reading it, I mean, it's kind of junk, but
Shredded.
I don't know. There's like there's some funny sayings in it. Okay, so if you haven't read Living Sober lately or at all, I mean, don't waste your time, but it is pretty funny.
It's almost like a little comedy book.
It sure is.
Yeah.
So this is from the booklet Living Sober, the 55th printing, 2024. This is page 2. Something else I've realized that our listeners who have listened to most of the seasons or even just more than one season, I have now realized where a lot of our meeting shrapnel originated. And in one way or another, it was probably in the booklet Living Sober. Okay, here's what it says. This is at page 2. Sometimes an AA member will talk about taking the various parts of the program in cafeteria style,
Oh, there it is.
selecting what he likes and letting alone what he does not want. So we have cafeteria style.
Cafeteria style. Take what you want and leave the rest.
Take what you want and leave the rest. BK sobriety.
Oh my goodness. Sometimes an AA member will talk about taking the various parts of the program in cafeteria style, selecting what he likes and letting alone what he does not want.
It's like Rhines or Morrison's. You remember Morrison?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Morrison's. Yeah. K and W,
K-Dubs.
K and S.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say that most people that did that are probably on their way to relapse.
Well,
You take what you like and leave the rest that you don't want.
yep.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to work.
It doesn't. Now, something I will say about Living Sober is that in the first few, it doesn't have like chapters, but it has like little headers. And the first few little headers, it'll say something like this, and then it'll be like, hey, that's probably not going to work. You should probably work the steps. So the first several pages, they're actually pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I was ever told to take what you want and leave. I mean, I've heard this forever in AA. But I think if we just did what we wanted, we probably wouldn't be sober.
Correct.
I mean, who wants to do an inventory and who wants to go make amends?
I wanted to do inventory, but
You did?
yeah, I just wanted to write down why I was mad at everyone.
Did you? Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then my sponsor could know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
look at why I was drinking. You know
They
what
really
I'm saying?
wronged you, and that's why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Duh.
I'm scrapping this one.
Scrap. It's out of here. Our next Living Sober shrapnel is from page 3. It says, in recovering from alcoholism, we found that we needed a balanced diet of ideas, even if some of them did not look at first as enjoyable as others. Like good food, good ideas did us no good unless we made intelligent use of them. Balanced diet of ideas.
Balanced diet of ideas. Shh. I just don't understand this one at all. I mean, you look for somebody that's trying to get balance is looking for an excuse to get out of something.
Okay, but also it says like good food, good ideas did us no good unless we made intelligent use of them. How do you make intelligent use of good food?
This is a very good question. Good ideas did us no good unless we made intelligent use of them, like good food. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, Barry, what were you thinking when you wrote this?
Billy Willie.
Like good food, good ideas did us no good unless we made intelligent use of them. Yeah, it's just word salad.
Word salad.
That's my new term. I mean, it's just so a balanced diet of ideas. I'm scrapping it.
Scrapping. It's out of here. Okay, so
what's next?
Here we go. This is from page 5. Instead of trying to figure out how many we could handle, 4, 6, a dozen, we remember, quote, just don't pick up that first drink, end quote. It is so much simpler. The habit of thinking this way has helped hundreds of thousands of us stay sober for years. Just don't pick up that first drink.
Doesn't the big book say we have no power? We've lost the power of choice in drink. Yeah. We have no defense against the first drink. So this flies right in the face of that. Just don't pick. Well, there's that shrapnel. I mean, we've been hearing that in AA forever. Yep. Just don't pick up the first one. Just don't pick up that first drink.
So, like, yes, a lot of these are word of mouth over the years. But, like, listen, living sober, it's the number 3 most sold book at GSC.
Really?
Man. So, that's so much simpler than trying to figure out how many drinks you can handle.
Just don't pick up the first one. That's all. Put the plug in the jug.
And that way of thinking has helped hundreds of thousands of us stay sober.
Did they take a survey on that?
I have no idea.
Hundreds of thousands stay sober for years. This is really dumb. This is hurtful. This is it's contrary to actually what alcoholism is. Yeah, it's pure, straight freaking clubhouse Joe. Yeah, just don't pick up that first drink, boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Put the plug in the jug.
Put that plug in that jug.
Pick up the 1,000-pound telephone. That first drink.
Just don't.
Oh, actually, here's a preview. It's called telephone therapy. Thank you.
Oh, that's the 1,000-pound phone?
Correct.
Telephone
That'll be
therapy.
Coming up in a future episode.
Telephone therapy. Well, so just don't pick up the first drink. Oh, well, just don't pick up the first drink and you won't get drunk.
Get drunk.
Yeah. It's awful. I'm scrapping it.
It's out of here.
All right. Oh, man. They don't need to rewrite Living Sober. They probably just need to do away with it.
Just quit printing it.
Quit printing it. Although people buy it.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion. Keep listening for Living Sober Sharp. I have a sneaking suspicion that there are a few key areas of why they want to update it, and it is not any of this.
Okay. Stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there listening, we appreciate it. Get with your DC and with your delegate on some of these items if you have any concerns or suggestions for them. In the meantime, be free.
Freedom.
Thanks for listening. If you have a comment, suggestion, or just need help, you can email Shank and Wayne at freedom@alcoholicsalive.com. Remember, we're recovered members of Alcoholics Anonymous, but we do not speak for Alcoholics Anonymous, nor do we get paid. Join us next week for another great episode.